correct signal though, no matter how many boats pick it up, you still get the correct information when
Correct.
it reaches? Okay.
Yes. And I'm going to label these so I don't get confused. Again, I'm easily confused. If boat A transmits it out, boat B picks it up, transmits it to boat C then transmits it to the Coast Guard. The whole time, it will say boat A is in distress. But as you were asking, when it goes back to here, I see boat A is in distress regardless of the amount of boats that picked it up. That's what comes across our screen. And it's because it's GPS based, and you can hook it up to Loran, but as we all know, Loran is not quite as accurate, to say the least. And Loran is going away. Loran is rapidly going away. Sir?
If the radio on A stops transmitting the signal, do B and C still continue to transmit that?
Yes, it does.
They do.
They do keep transmitting that signal because it's waiting for that land-based unit to say acknowledge. Yes?
So you said B doesn't necessarily know, the operator of boat B doesn't know that his radio received and sent out a signal, so he wouldn't know if boat A was in distress? Or
It depends on radio to radio. It's just like if you have a Ford as opposed to a Chevy as opposed to, Mercedes. Some act a little differently. Some will actually tell the operator of the vessel, there's a distress signal that I'm relaying, and it will make an audible notification. I've seen models that do that. I've seen models that it's just something that prints out on the little LED screen for you. Most of them nowadays do actually have some kind of audible alarm, and they will give you a visual description, MMSI, and then the position of the vessel in distress. Most of them. But again, it's model to model, make to make kind of thing. Anyway, that's really the nuts and bolts of how DSC works. Like I said, it is a fantastic system. I cannot say enough good stuff about it. The Coast Guard, we started, I won't say dabbling in it. We do what we call a beta test. We test the proof of technology at one of our units somewhere in the world. And I was at the very first Coast Guard unit that ever got DSC back in the early to mid 90s, about 14, 15 years ago. And I was there when we got this. We put it on board all of our boats. And the thing about DSC also is because it's data and it's all digital, you can send messages from boat to boat. You can send information that goes just from MMSI to MMSI. So if you're out there fishing, you're in a spot, you don't want everybody else to know where you're catching them, but you want your buddy to know. It's like sending a text message. It's exactly what it is. So it's a great system. We will, yes sir?
How long before it's operational?
We will, we have been told that we were supposed to be operational last month. I'm now being told that October is when we will have it operational across this part of the country. And knowing my commanding officer as I do, I'd be willing to bet that it is going to happen by October. He doesn't like being told no very often.
Would that be a low 9th?
I'm sorry?
Some October, Phil?
Yeah. Yes.
So, assuming that the signal, if our radios are the ones that have the audible alarm, and boat A is out there offshore, and B and C are out fishing within 15, 20 miles of them, but we're offshore further, and really you guys aren't set up to hear the signal on shore yet until October, so this season doesn't do us any good. But will the alerting, if boat A gets in problem, and our radios are such that they're compatible and that we hear them, we will still receive boat A's signal, or do we need we don't need the shore-based part?
You don't need us to send out the signal, to receive the signal, because you've got all the equipment that you need if you've got a DSC radio and a GPS.
Right.
So as long as you have that, yes, it will still be transmitting out saying I need a land-based station to send it or to acknowledge. It may not happen, but somewhere around the globe, it will eventually hit, yes, I got it.
Okay, but so if we're within a vicinity of 5 or 10 miles of another boat, and we're all listening and know what the system works, we may be the first on scene as opposed to you guys scrambling for McKinley.
You're exactly right.
Okay, good.
Yes?
So, is the Coast Guard listening, but not listening formally to this at this point? I mean, I assume you have DSC radios and you'll get the signal. I mean, what's the... I mean, you're not going, okay, I'm hearing this emergency and it's...
No, I'm not sticking my fingers in my ears, I promise.
Yeah.
The simple answer is we don't have it yet. Simple answer is we don't have the DSC technology at Humboldt Bay right now.
On any of your...
On our
boats,
cutters
or-
we do,
Okay.
but our cutters, as you know, I mean, they're here or they're not. There's no way of knowing where they are. I have to know where they are, but there's no way for you to know. Our cutters have it, our small boats have it, and yes, that's great, but again, those are mobile stations. So when they hit acknowledge, it doesn't really do anything other than to say, keep sending it out. We will have that technology, like I said, by October is when we're supposed to be at initial operating capability. And that's part of our Rescue 21 system. Again, October is when I'm hoping that we're going to have it. I have no reason to believe that it won't happen by then because we've been pushed back 6 months already, and that's usually okay. That's it.
So if somebody gets a message, you know, if they have an audible alarm, or they should radio the Coast Guard?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Anytime you hear a distress call of any kind, don't assume that we have heard it. I mean, this is just a general rule of thumb. We hope that we hear it. We hope that we pick up all SAR calls. Search and rescue, sorry, speaking acronyms. I hope that we hear all SAR calls. Bottom line is we can't. Especially if you're 40, 50 miles offshore. Don't assume that we heard it. And quite frequently, if you'll hear us when we do our pon-pons on the radio, you'll hear us saying, any vessel in the vicinity or any vessel that did hear the call, please call us, talk to us. The reason that we need that information when we work search and rescue is, visual guy, I know. If I've got antennas here and here, and they've got what we call range rings for the antenna itself, if we picked up a distress signal off of this antenna and this antenna, the only place, logically, the vessel in distress can be is in this area right here. However, VHF radio has a tendency to kind of bounce around, doesn't really necessarily do line of sight. So our range rings are approximate, and we know that. There's no way to make them definitively, they're 22 miles from the antenna, or 35 miles. Just can't do it. So if you're in boat C, and you heard that distress call, and you've got about a range ring in here, that throws us all off. But that also helps us narrow down the search area. Saying, okay, well, we know that boat C has a range of about 20 miles on his radio. So let's overlap those circles again, try to narrow down our search area. So that's why we ask you, if you did hear something, please give us a call, let us know. Even if you didn't hear something, that actually helps us narrow down the search area. It really helps us. Does that answer your question? Okay. Yes, sir.
Two questions. Number one, where will your antennas be located? And two, will the DSC radio, which I have one of, but I also have an older generation GPS, it's about 9 years now, will it be compatible with the older generation GPS?
I can't answer the GPS whether or not it's compatible because it's a make and model kind of thing. I can't speak for the manufacturers of the radio.
It's one of the major ones, but
again, I know what equipment we have, and I know what works with our equipment. I can't really speak to that. I'm sorry. I wish I could.
If you have the NMEA, that's what hooks into your radio.
Do you have it hooked up in yours?
As far as where the antennas are going to be located, we're going to have antennas located up Rocky Prairie, which is to the north, up by Crescent City. We're going to have one on Walker Ridge, which is about halfway between here and Crescent City, about 10 miles inland. We're going to have one at Trinidad, I believe.